Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Got to turn the microphone on. Good morning, everybody. Hey, do you know what lexophilia is? I'll give you some examples. Why were the Indians here first? They had reservations. Oh, and did you hear about the cross-eyed teacher who lost her job because she couldn't control her pupils? And my favorite, don't worry about old age. It doesn't last. Good morning. Here's Kate Smith, and God bless America. Now that I learned how to turn the microphone on, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Well, not really. Oh, my. Things go better when you're talking into a live mic. Good morning, everybody. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you. And some of our great advertisers, like Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call 734-6969. Right now, without further ado, let's go to the phone line. I hope we have some patriots calling in. Good morning.
Good morning, young man.
How are you?
I am rotten.
Okay, give us the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dal, you do a doggone good job. Thank you very much.
Thank you, young man.
All right.
Have a good rainy day.
All right. God bless you, man. Thanks. Oh, my goodness sakes. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And right now it's time for our weather forecast, and it's brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Oh, my, these are good folks. At 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley, please stop in, say howdy, and look for the blue door. And don't forget while you're there, man, I tell you what, you can decorate your house with neutral palettes, adding pops of color and texture with accessories. I like that. Neutral palettes, adding pops of color and texture with accessories. They know all about interior decorating and home decorations and home decor and carpet and flooring and kitchen construction. Whatever you need to make your house a home, Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Here's Gina with the weather.
Well, good morning on this hump day. Scotty Cameron in with your 7th Ranch weather forecast. Going to be a little bit moist. Looking for some scattered showers today, isolated thunderstorms. Highs only going to reach around 59. Then for tonight, still a chance of thunderstorms, then partly cloudy with a low of 44. That should be clearing off tomorrow. Going to see sunny skies, highs around 67. Clear for Thursday night and a low of 44. Friday, going to be sunny and around 70 up to 75 on Saturday. So things should be looking fairly decent for the weekend. Hopefully you're having a great day. That's your weather forecast on 7th Ranch.
I don't care. Every single day I get fooled. I think it's going to be Gina, and then it's Scotty. And Scotty Cameron, I want to say thank you for filling in and doing our weather forecast for this morning. Very, very good job. Thank you. Brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for that blue door. There you go. Woo! We have got, somebody said to me the other day, how in the world do you fill and talk for a 3-hour talk show. And I said, whoa, wait a minute. I'll tell you what. I've got so much every day on the show that I'd like to have 7 hours because I have a hard time getting everything in. Okay, tomorrow, I'll tell you about that in just a minute because I'll give their ad first. I want to remind you about Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, and the number 678-0459. They're open 7:30 till 5 Monday through Friday. Now, here's where we go. Tomorrow morning, we are going to be over at Ramsey Heating and Electric, and I know my people with Lunch Bunch and everything, they always come down and support us. And we're going to be there from 8 to 11 tomorrow with that live broadcast and celebrating. Hats off to farmers and salute to our military. But before that, at 7 o'clock in the morning, right out in the parking lot, the Rupert Veterans Memorial is going to be serving biscuits and gravy from 7 till 10 a.m., and the proceeds go to the Christmas Helping Santa Fund to help needy families. It's only $3 a person, so come on by and enjoy. And we'll be there for that remote tomorrow. My dear friends, I just think the world of these people. Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. You be sure and come on down. And we're going to be having a register to win 2 free breakfasts from Denny's in Burley. You come on down tomorrow and register, okay? Got a lot of things to talk about. Holy cow. All right, let's see. Today on the program, we've got Dave Bigo coming up at 9:06, and then a very dear friend is going to be on the air at 9:30, and that's Jack Euler. Nobody knows more about the wolf situation in the entirety of the Northwest than Jack Euler, and we're going to discuss that and how other states are really feeling the problem of the wolf reintroduction and protection. So we're going to talk about that. And then at 10:06, the Idaho Fish and Game Report. And Kelton Hatch will be here. The Big K will be striding into the studio. Kelton Hatch. So we got a busy, busy day. And I got to tell you about something else in just a minute. So stand by. What a day. Woo, busy. I feel like a track star running a mile. Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley and 291 Pole Line in Twin Falls. Oh, buttermilk pancakes that will knock your socks off, made with real butter, real milk, real eggs, hint of vanilla. Oh, they're delicious. You're going to love all the food anytime and all the time at America's Diner, Denny's Restaurant. Stop in. Wonderful, wonderful people. And the food, the menu, everything's just fantastic. Denny's Restaurant. And that's, of course, America's Diner at 611 Overland in Burley and 291 Pole Line in Twin Falls. Yeah, buddy. I would really appreciate your calls this morning. Give me a little respite from what's going on. Don't forget to get your bumper Snickers in. Anti-Hillary bumper Snickers. And you're going to be competing for a grand prize, the one that's selected as the best that we're going to print up and distribute, etc. And send them. We've got quite a few coming in already. We just had another one come in this morning. And Zeb at the Ranch. 4 words. ZEBATTHERANCH at hotmail.com. Zeb at the Ranch at hotmail.com. Be sure and get those into us as soon as you can. Colin, yeah, every time Donna Mass said this to me on the phone yesterday, it got my tongue all tangled. She calls Colin Kaepernick Colin Kaepernick. It really discombobulated me for a while. But, you know, in all seriousness, I certainly hope that Colin Kaepernick is watching the news this morning, and he sees a video out of Phoenix, Arizona, that shows a black driver intentionally mowing down 3 police officers standing by their car. Fortunately, none of the police officers were hurt seriously, and they caught this lowlife. And, you know, try it on for size, Colin. You disrespect the police, and you talk very disingenuously about murders in the street by the police officers. You are a very uneducated, even though you had a college education, you are a very uneducated athlete that would be better served picking the football up and trying to improve on your game, or you wouldn't be second string right now, and keeping your big mouth shut. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, good morning, Mr. Bell.
Don't do it again.
Do what?
Don't say it again. You got me all messed up.
I'm sorry. You know, I'm sick of these sports figures. They need to do something. I mean, it's okay to protest, but protest something that, you know, is worth it. But don't disrespect our military and our flag. It just, I don't know, it just infuriates me. And another point thing I wanted to talk to you about was, I don't know if you were watching Kelly or Bill O'Reilly last night. All those gentlemen, and they use that term lightly, pled the fifth.
Yeah.
On everything. When are we the people going to stand up and say, you know what, get your butts in jail, quit protecting this liar and thief and crook, and do something?
Well, wait a minute. You know, it even goes beyond that. The main person, her IT guru, this Pagliano, he was issued a subpoena and a summons to appear before Congress and testify, and he basically snubbed his nose at Congress, didn't show up, didn't call anybody, didn't anybody know. And Donna, I guarantee you, if it were George, you, me, Deanne, anybody else, common folk, we would have handcuffs on and be behind bars.
Yeah, they know where he is. That's what George told me last night. He says, quit getting so upset. Well, it does upset me because it's part of the process of being an American citizen.
That's right.
If you're subpoenaed, you need to go testify and quit. You know, I don't understand why people plead the fifth. 99.9% of the time, that means you're hiding something or you're guilty of something.
Yeah, and don't you ever weaken to old, laid-back, easy-going, lazy boy George. You just stay fiery. I love it.
Well, thanks. He calls me Zeb all the time.
Okay.
Which is okay because I do have that Class A personality, and I don't care who you are. If Obama was standing in front of me, I'd tell him the same darn thing.
You wait till tomorrow morning when he's serving biscuits and gravy. He might be wearing some of them.
I'll let you.
Okay, thanks, Donna. God bless you. Appreciate it.
Have a great day, my friend.
All right, thank you. Oh, my. Yeah, I like fiery personalities. I like people that are going to get involved and get things done. Oh, in this day and age, and I don't mean to run anybody down or their personality or whatever, I really am having a hard time accepting people that sit back and go, oh, gee, boy, that's too bad. Somebody ought to do something about it. Well, that somebody is you. Get involved. And the call that still gets my hair on the back of my neck standing straight out is the call I had, what was it, about a year ago on the air. Well, Mr. Bell, why don't you do this? And why don't you make sure this gets done? And I thought, wait just a cotton-picking minute. You know, it's easy to go on the radio via a telephone call and say, well, why don't you do it, Zeb? Why don't you take care of this stuff? Why don't you, the general public, get up off your southern exposure and go do things yourself? Get involved, okay? Barry Equipment and Rental. Yes, Barry Equipment and Rental. They have the equipment to get the job done right. They've got 3 locations, South Lincoln and Jerome, Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Oh, you talk about equipment. They've got all your equipment rentals. Yeah, okay, you need to rent equipment, they've got it. They can even teach you how to run it in that really big sandbox out behind the business. And they've got all the equipment sales. I mean, holy buckets, in a repair shop second to none. You stop over and see them today, and again, they can help you with all the equipment to get the job done right. Barry Equipment and Rental, South Lincoln, Jerome, Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Oh, and real quick, I also want to tell you about Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Is that really true, Deanne, what was said yesterday when you were talking to one of our neighbors, that they said that when I was in that hydrotherapy pool, they didn't have to go to a water amusement park or SeaWorld because Shamu was in the pool over at Burley Physical Therapy? I don't know. I heard that. Anyway, don't forget, stop over. I was in the water yesterday. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. They've got that hydrotherapy pool, and hydrotherapy is so absolutely phenomenal to help recharge and get some of those old muscles working again. Oh, man, it's phenomenal. And every one of the physical therapists over there really know their stuff, helping you get back to being you. 678-1191 is the number to call for an appointment. 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Guarantee I absolutely love that place and what those folks can do. You know, just a moment ago, pardon me, just a moment ago we were talking about, like Donna says, Colin kaopectate, but it's got far more serious than just a few black NFL athletes. Now, very unfortunately, it is spread even to high school football teams. When I read this story that was in the sports section of USA Today yesterday, it just sickened me. High school football players protesting our national anthem. Teams in Kentucky and New Jersey and other states. High school. These kids, and they are kids, have no clue. They have no clue what they're doing, and they have no clue why. And this insanity has got to stop. But there was one school that I absolutely have to give kudos to, and I know all the liberal twits that live here in the area, they're going to jump out of their skin going, "Oh, I think that's just terrible. How dare you report on that?" Well, I'm going to. Listen to this. The Mackenzie, Alabama High School public address announcer said this, and I quote, "You can line up over there by the fence if you don't stand for the anthem, and let our military personnel take a few shots at you since they're taking shots for you already." Let them take a few shots at you, since they're taking shots for you already. Woo! This was met by cheers. I mean, the whole place erupted in cheers. And but the Butler County School Superintendent Amy Bryan said patriotism should be a part of the school events, but threats of shooting people who aren't patriotic, even in jest, has no place at the school. Oh, come on, liberals. The liberal loons coming in there and just, "Oh, I thought that was terrible." You know what? These kids have not got a clue because nobody's really taught them. Nobody has really sat down and given them the real truth about what goes on in this country, what has gone on in this country, and the blood and the dying that has taken place for them. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. This fellow that didn't show up to court, isn't automatically a bench warrant issued?
No.
Arrested?
No. It goes through a legal harangue of different processes, and it might take years to even prosecute the guy. You know, it's such a bunch of malarkey and baloney, and the word I want to use I can't on the air. It's a bunch of you-know-what, the way that the Congress now has their hands tied behind them. If it were you or I, just common folk, they'd have us crucified the next day.
Well, evidently we haven't been depluralized.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's just insanity to me to think this guy can thumb his nose and nothing's going to happen. I mean, there's nobody with any rules and regulations anymore, and he just basically stiffed them. He just basically waved that one finger, and it wasn't for a fastball. He just told them, I'm not going to show up, and you can't do anything about it. What kind of baloney is that, Tony?
Well, this is a national security issue. This guy should have been picked up by the military, at least, for what he's doing against his country.
I am so fed up with the way that our country is going. I am so fed up with the way the FBI now is looking like a laughingstock, and quite frankly, like they're crawling into bed with certain factions of government and not being honest. I am so sick and tired of evil over good. It just amazes me. It just absolutely amazes me.
The only thing I can say, I used to idolize the FBI years ago when I was a kid. Now, as far as I'm concerned, they have been corrupted.
I agree. Tony, I wish you and Mary the very best. God bless you, and thank you for your calls every morning. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, buddy. Right. Thank you much. And the very best to Mary. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Imagine kids. Yeah, I bet you I'll buy breakfast to anybody that can prove me wrong on this. You go up to these kids and really ask them some pointed questions about why this is going on, how come it started, what the basics of it are, and they can't give you an answer. No, kids, 16, 17, and 18-year-olds. And they're protesting our national anthem. Woe betide the school or the team or the player if I find out somebody here does that and takes a knee or goes sits on the bench for our national anthem. I am going to hammer them on the radio. I guarantee it. Don't forget Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids and a hearing screening in case you're not getting and hearing everything that you are listening for. I mean, holy buckets, you better make sure that you get taken care of. I went over and had a hearing screening, and it's fun. It really is kind of fun. And she, Christine Pickup, the doctor of audiology, knows all about hearing and how to help you. So please don't put it off. They are the only locally owned and independent hearing health care practice in southern Idaho. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And the number to call, 312-0957. You be sure and get a hold of her today. By the way, on Mondays, we give away cookies. Oh, boy, I got a lot of people talking about those cookies from Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. And what a great place to go. Fantastic restaurant, great bakery, and you're going to love it. And we give those away at 8:31 on Mondays. Sophie's Chatterbox, really good food. All right, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. It is almost laughable, and if you follow the news like I do, I am a news junkie and proud of it, it's almost laughable, that Barack Obama would be on the stump for Hillary. Oh, I mean, this guy, he doesn't want to be in the Oval Office. Never did. He wants to be out where he looks like Joe number one. He wants to be out where everybody idolizes him. He wants to be out where everybody just, oh, look, there's Barack Obama. Oh, my life is now complete. He loves that kind of stuff. And he was on the stump for Hillary yesterday, and he said she would be the greatest president ever. And on and on and on. But you know what's so funny and so fraud about what he said? The emails back up another story. And I'm telling you, these emails, they're going to keep on coming. They're like the hits on a radio station. They're going to keep on coming. It's bigger than we think, and it's getting nastier than we think, because a lot of the emails, Colin Powell and other people, and emails that show how bad the Obamas hate the Clintons and vice versa. And here he is out on the stump for her. Oh, yeah. She'd be the greatest president. Well, this is what is so funny, because now I'm a little bit concerned, and I'm not the only one that's asking this question. I asked it yesterday on the air, and then people followed me last night on the national news, etc. Wait a minute. What's going on here is the fact that Hillary is in bed, supposedly recuperating, and Biden and Obama and Tim Kaine and even Barbara Streisand. Oh, brother, there's a mind like a box of rocks. They're all out campaigning and filling in the voids for Hillary. Yeah. And for how long, we don't know, because we don't know how serious Hillary's health is. Now, I listened to a lot of experts this morning. I really took notes on a lot of people, authors that have written books about Hillary and Bill Clinton, and I listened to past people that used to work in the administrations and everything. And almost to every single person, they made comments that Hillary's health has been deteriorating for a long, long time. She has not been very healthy. She has had numerous dizzy spells, numerous fainting spells, and quite frankly put, she ain't right, okay? And are they going to be filling in all the way possibly and through the September 26th debate? I mean, things are getting down to where we've got to cut the tree down and make the house. I mean, 55 days from this morning, from the first, the election, and only 12 days to the first debate. And where's Hillary? Don't know. Calls welcome, 436-2244-1866. Come on, folks. This is your program. Jump in and have fun, please. I know the conservatives will do that. We do invite the liberals, but they never do. Ramsey Heating and Electric offering rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems. Caller, I'll be right there, whether it's a gas furnace, air conditioner, or a heat pump. You and your family will enjoy the comfort. Call them at 678-0459 and learn how Ramsey Heating and Electric can save you money on Lennox. Absolutely. Hey, by the way, too, don't forget tomorrow we're going to be over at Ramsey's for that remote, and I want to remind you we're going to have our Denny's football trivia question of the week, and you might win a Grand Slam breakfast from Denny's. So be listening at about 9:12 tomorrow morning. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, Zeb. You know, this Fifth Amendment deal is getting to be sickening to me, because they're not going to do anything to these people, because of the way somebody explained to me yesterday was the fact that and also the guy that didn't even show up. In order to get anything done with these people, it has to go through the entire Congress, the entire Senate, and the President has to sign it off before they can do anything to them.
You know, it's
what kind of deal is that?
It's so lax, Keith. I mean, it's not even a slap on the wrist. It's absolutely repugnant to me to think that this Pagliano and the rest of these clowns looking for a circus could sit there and, well, on advisement of my attorney, I can't sit here and say anything, so I plead the fifth. And then it goes on and on and on every question. And it was a waste of the taxpayers' money to have them in this meeting. But this Pagliano, he's the smug, very, above everything. He acts like he's above the law, and he proved that he was above the law yesterday. He just told Congress, I'm not coming, and big deal.
Well, I see this Lois Lerner, and I haven't seen her picture for a long time, but I think of how disgusting that was, that she pled the fifth, and she didn't lose her job. She got paid every day. She has a full retirement. Everything is beautiful for her.
Yeah.
Just because because she pleaded the fifth.
Well, you could go down a list of names that would be appropriate for what you're talking about, where they have done things illegal and just basically have thumbed their nose at government and the law and walked away and nothing was done to them. And I thought we lived in a country of laws.
Well, we do, but they're not for us.
I guess.
They don't apply to us, I should say.
All right, well.
They say they apply.
I appreciate your call as always, my dear friend. Say hello to your wife, and we'll talk to you again. Thank you.
Have a nice rainy day.
All right, buddy. Thank you. I like rainy days. I really do. Caller, I'll be right there. I just got to tell everybody about Minnecasia Sales. Yes, Minnecasia Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley. They sponsor Dr. History on Tuesdays at 10:06. And don't forget, they've got all your lumber. They've got all your shingles. They've got all your Western windows to save on your heating bills this winter. Oh, my, Zach and the crew. They are good people, really good people, right across from the airport. Minnecasia Sales bringing you Dr. History. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, Zeb, how are you?
Well, better than I was yesterday, I'll guarantee you.
I like it. Hey, I want to let you know that I do support our vendors that support the show. Les Schwab, I get all my tires and stuff there. Great people, and I really like to give that money to people who are supporting truth, liberty, and freedom.
That is awfully nice of you to say. I don't recognize your voice. I don't know if I know you personally or not, but boy, right there, you have made my day, because those people you talked about, the advertisers and sponsors of this program, they really enjoy hearing that people are supportive, and God bless you for your remarks. That means a lot to me.
You got it. And then on the other hand, I wanted to talk a little bit about the politics that you've been discussing today.
Okay.
And to be honest, I think most of these people are above the law. I mean, if you really look at how people are not being prosecuted for the crimes against this country, it's obvious. The head of the DOJ, Eric Holder, all these people are getting away with murder. And I think it's time to just face the fact that, we've lost this country. We really have. And it's time that everyone has to stand up and do something about it. And I don't know if we can or not.
You bring up an excellent point. We've lost this country, you said. I would argue that it's not lost. We just misplaced it for a while because of loony liberals and the absolute left taking over, because we, the right, have been too lazy to stand up and let our voices be heard. And honestly, sir, I'm not trying to offend you or anybody else, but it goes back on us. The onus is on us. We have been too lazy to stand up and say, enough is enough. Get out of Dodge City.
I agree, and I mean I'm close to 50. My parents are in their 80s, and I look at the generations as it's come down, and from the time of Woodrow Wilson signing in the central bank with the Fed, that was the start. I mean, you look back at Old Hickory; he's the one that beat back the banks. Thomas Jefferson, same story, and the people that we've elected have not stood up and beat these banks back. And as they monetize our dollar, our money is worth less and less and less every dollar that they print. And they don't give us that money. They lend us that money. So there's debt immediately accrued on that. So we can never catch our debt in the first place. And it's set up that way. And with all the people that are being put in, they're all puppets of those people. And until we kick that whole system out, it isn't going to get better.
I absolutely nominate you to be the head of the Secretary of State or Department of, you can be the Secretary of the Treasury. You know what's going on. And I'll give you one other example of how bad this country is getting. And these are my personal thoughts. I don't adhere to anybody else's thoughts. When you have a federal government that comes up with an absolutely insane bill that is going to absolutely destroy the moral value of families in this country, and that's that bathroom bill. And then they use their pressure on states like North Carolina and say we're going to pull everything out of the state. The NCAA has come in and said we're going to pull all the events out of your state if you don't bend and break for that bathroom bill to let transgenders go anywhere they want. What kind of filth is this administration perpetrating?
Well, really, that is, that's child endangerment. That's child abuse. I do not go to Target. I will not go to Target ever again after that. And I don't frequent any business that won't let me carry in their business. I won't frequent any business that lets transgender bathrooms be approved. I won't let my kids go into the bathroom there. It isn't safe, and I wouldn't be a good parent if I did let my kids go into a bathroom like that.
Amen. Amen. I can't tell you how much your call means to me this morning. Thank you very much, and please call again. Thank you.
Thanks, Ed.
All right, sir. You know, I've thought about this a lot, and with the filth that is going on in this country, and the anti-morals, and the anti-family values, and the anti-this and anti-this, anti-Christian feelings, and really denigrating our flag, like what took place at Occidental College down by Los Angeles over the weekend when that Republican club went out and they put up over 3,000 flags to honor the deaths of 911. And some very lowlifes, some people that, quite frankly, you'd like to get alone in a room for a personality adjustment for about 2 minutes, went along and picked up all those flags and threw them in a garbage sack, destroyed them, and threw them away. What does that tell you about the fiber of our country today? Don't give me this garbage about free speech. No, don't even go there. Please. We're looking at a complete breakdown of values in this country. And when somebody comes up to me and says, well, they're just expressing their free speech, I don't even go there anymore. All they're doing is tearing apart the fabric of America and the people that have died to make it great. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Zeb. Well, this is part of the Communist Rules for Radicals, Saul Alinsky. Of course, just to refresh your audiences, Saul Alinsky was a community organizer. We've heard that before, haven't we? And he wrote a book called Rules for Radicals, and it outlined just exactly the kind of things that are happening to take over our educational, political institutions. He dedicated his book to Lucifer, Satan, and of course Hillary did a 92-page honors thesis and met with Alinsky several times, Ed. So we know where she's coming from.
Yep.
And so all of the people out there say, well, we can't vote for Trump, so let's just not vote. Hillary, will get elected by default with that kind of an attitude. So anyway, it's all part of the communist plan to break down our culture, bring in these refugees as part of that plan as well.
Yep.
And, we just had the 9/11 remembrance, and here it was Obama again. It became a selfie for him, and it didn't honor the people that died. And but the bottom line is, Zeb, like the previous caller, we've got to get more involved and get on the emails and phone calls and stop the refugee thing and stop all this EPA and all these things that are wasting our taxpayer money and controlling us.
I agree, and I've got to get a weather in, Adrian, but your points of interest are spot on, and I appreciate it. God bless you for your call.
You bet.
Thank you. He's right on the money, and he said what was true. Caller, I'm going to ask your patience. Be patient. Take a deep breath. Breathe in, breathe out, wax on, wax off. I'll get the weather. I'll be right there in 60 seconds. Don't forget our friends at the Urgent Cares. Kyle James and his crew, Riverview Urgent Care in Burley. Urgent Care of Jerome. Urgent Care in Twin Falls. My goodness, minor emergencies. but you get major care. No appointments necessary, quicker, less expensive. And if you want to learn out more about them, go to the website, urgentcareofidaho.com. Wonderful people serving you and your family. Absolutely the urgent cares. And right now, here is Scotty with the weather.
Well, good morning on this hump day. Scotty Cameron in with your 7th Ranch weather forecast. Going to be a little bit moist. Looking for some scattered showers today. Isolated thunderstorms. Highs only going to reach around 59. Then for tonight, still a chance of thunderstorms, then partly cloudy with a low of 44. That should be clearing off tomorrow. Going to see sunny skies. Highs around 67. Clear for Thursday night and a low of 44. Friday, going to be sunny and around 70 up to 75 on Saturday. So things should be looking fairly decent for the weekend. Hopefully you're having a great day. That's your weather forecast on 7th Ranch.
Boy, he does a good job, too. Thank you, Scotty, on behalf of the Urgent Cares. Riverview Urgent Care in Burley, along with Urgent Care of Jerome and Urgent Care in Twin Falls. Yeah, great people serving you for your sprains and your strains and your cuts and your bruises and your bumps and all that. Minor emergencies, major care. You stop in and see all of them today if you're in those respective areas. Burley, Twin Falls, and Jerome. Caller, thank you for your patience. God bless you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. You know, you mentioned that the protesters, or whatever you want to call them, have the right to free speech. I agree, they have the right to free speech, but they do not have the right to destruction.
Yeah.
There is a difference. And I think that's where we need to be holding their feet to the fire, is you can say what you want, but you have no right to destroy anything.
Look at all the protests of the liberal left. I mean, we've got these loons that were outside the Republican national headquarters during the convention and burning flags. And I thought it was really kind of funny, and I mean funny, that one of them caught himself on fire. And I wasn't the first one that was going to run for a fire extinguisher, I'll guarantee you that. But I absolutely agree with you that they've come to a destruction of property. This cost the Republican Club down at Occidental College a lot of money. And to have all of those flags picked up and thrown away and broken and torn apart, and then they went out and they replaced them and did it again. You're right, destruction of property. But there again, Sharon, the rules are today that there are no rules.
Yeah. Well, and that includes, or that encourages the unpatriotic acts that we're seeing, is because there's no repercussions for what they're doing. And we need to have that. There needs to be responsibility for actions. And like I say, destruction of property is not permissible.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Let's go back one more step further. Let's go back another step. I was mentioning about these high school kids that are protesting the national anthem. They're following, Colin Kaepernick's idiocy for the San Francisco 49ers. Now, Sharon, you know as well as I do, and you've been around school kids a lot of times. High school kids protesting the national anthem, they're lucky if they can understand algebra, let alone what's going on with the national anthem.
Well, and they have no clue what it took to have that national anthem.
That's right.
They don't know the story behind it, the lives that were lost to provide us what we have. They have no idea. And even if by chance they have family members who have served in the military, then I say shame on those parents and those family members for not providing information and training and teaching.
And then when it comes down to like Pagliano yesterday, Hillary's IT guru, that said basically to Congress, hey, hit the road, Jack. I'm not going to pay attention to your subpoena. There again, no rules, no regulation, no honoring of the laws. This country is in chaos, and the liberal left loons, they just keep promoting it.
Well, it's because we've got the Clinton Mafia that is intimidating everybody. They're being the bullies of America. And so everybody's afraid to stand up to them, because if they do, they aren't standing up tomorrow.
Oh, I tell you what, Sharon, we've got to stand up and do something. The conservatives in this country, we have nobody to blame but ourselves because we're not being vocal enough.
Exactly. We have been the nice guy for too long. We've turned the other cheek. I think it's been 70 times 7. And it's time to say, we're not turning the cheek again.
Amen. Thank you for your call. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
I got another story that's going to wrinkle the fur on the cat, so stand by. This story just makes my skin crawl, and we'll get to it in a moment. Don't forget Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street in Heyburn. I love this slogan. They have warm hearts for cold noses. Doesn't that make you just feel warm and fuzzy all over? They've been voted Minnecastia's best veterinary hospital on numerous occasions, and they've got some wonderful vets there serving you. It's a mixed animal practice, meaning big or small. They love them all. And don't forget to go by and buy a paw print. A paw print. Listen, they're only $1, and they'll hang them in the hallway, and all the funds go to the Cassia County Canine units for health care for the dogs, equipment, and the food. Come on, get over there. $1? Come on. Ark Animal Hospital in Heyburn, having warm hearts for cold noses. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, in the past I've called in and said that 54 million Christians, people don't even, I don't think they even hear it, but it doesn't, I guess it does matter. 54 million Christians, 54 million didn't vote in the last election. 94 million didn't vote in the last election at all. 94 million people don't even care for whatever the reason. And so, if you say, for instance, you've got a block of people on welfare that are able to vote, wherever it is, and they're out voting at what percentage? What, 70, 80%? I mean, they make sure they show up. This is where the Democrats kick our butt, is they're out there knocking on doors, getting people out to vote, and then however other, devious ways they're getting people to vote, and voter fraud.
Randy, you bring up a really good point here this morning about how the gimmies and the wannabes in our society, but they're too lazy to go out and get a job. And again, I want to stress the fact that I'm not lumping everybody, people that have physical challenges, etc., and they can't work. I understand the help from different agencies. Believe me, I understand that help for you, and I support it. However, we do have a lot of very dead beats in our society that are leeches on the system, which I've said for a long time need to be scourged and purged from any money whatsoever. You're too lazy to work, you're too lazy to get a job, then you don't eat. That's my feeling.
Well, that's the thing. And see, when you look at it, how does it play out? Is it a local thing where the local welfare provider, the local government worker, is he allowing it? Is it a thing coming down from the Obama administration, from the feds, saying we don't want anybody questioning whether or not they're disabled, or just make sure they get their checks?
Well, look at. Wait a minute.
From California, who's been on welfare for years, and all he does is he smokes pot in the morning, and surfs in the afternoon. Chases women in the evening, and does it the next day, and only has to check in either maybe twice a year. And it's just, all it is some minimal thing. They just are so willing to give these people everything, and the debt continues to grow. Again, when will we ever be able to get? It's such a mess.
Well, I think, wait a minute. I'm running out of time, but I just want to say this. Hang on just a second. We, America, have lost our pride. Would you agree with that?
Gee, well,
quickly.
We are, because they don't know any better.
Yeah.
I can only teach my children and some of my friends' children, and that's all I can do.
I tell you, I had another story that knowing you like I do was going to make your blood turn orange and red and bubble up and everything, and I ran out of time.
I might call back later.
All right, buddy, thanks.
See ya.
Hey, I've got to tell you about my major sponsor, and they are wonderful people, and they've got backbone, I'll tell you that. That's your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Absolutely there to serve you with the best in tires for all driving occasions. They've got a fall tire sale going on right now, and tires like for your passenger car, like the Eclipse, all-season design, and a 70,000-mile warranty. Holy buckets, that's a great tire. Along with all the other tires for your cars, pickups, SUVs, whatever. And don't forget to the best in brake service. Boy, oh boy, you don't want to be pulling up to a stop sign and all of a sudden go, oh my goodness! They know brakes. Professionally trained technicians, the brake industry's best warranty. Please let them help you. Front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries. Oh boy, this time of year to have that battery checked. And if it's going bad, you better get a good one at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Whew, got to run. Dave Bego coming up from Indianapolis, Indiana, next on the program. And then Jack Euler at 9:30. And then the Fish and Game Report with Big K, Kelton Hatch. You stay tuned, Zeb at the Ranch. Thanks, Wheels. Have a good one. Be back in about 7. My. Here we go. Hour number 2. Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, these are great people. And stop in for the best in tires and other services, any and all of the 7 locations. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, and also some of our great advertisers, including Western Way Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho,
I've said many, many times they do so much to help you and serve you, Western Way Services. They've got the dumpsters in various sizes. And like, we're doing a renovation project here in my office. I know. We're pitching and throwing, and I don't know if they got a dumpster big enough. But, whatever you're cleaning out, whatever you need a dumpster for, they can have them. They can bring them over there, drop them off, fill them up, and then come get them. They are great. They're always at your disposal. Western Way Services, 734-6969. You get a hold of those good folks today. By the way, too, don't forget that we want to remind you about Lennox and Ramsey Heating and Electric, and they're offering rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems right now. Whether it's a gas furnace, an air conditioner, or a heat pump, you and your family will enjoy the comfort. Call them 678-0459 and learn how Ramsey Heating and Electric can save you money on Lennox. Yesterday, we had our dear friend Joel Heward on the program from Hanson Mortuary. I learned a lot from this man, and I think the number one thing that stands out is that when we talk about death and dying, all a part of life, we all kind of just go backward and go, oh, I don't want to talk about that. Well, we all should. And they have a planning guide so that you can have all your questions answered, and you'll understand more of what you can do to eliminate the stress for your family. Please give them a call and find out more. 436-5636, Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, serving you and your family. Right now, I consider this man a dear friend. He's been on our program for a long, long time, and I value his opinion. Good morning to Indianapolis, Indiana, Dave Bego. And he is, of course, a big fan of the Indianapolis Colts. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Zeb. How you doing?
Hey, by the way, I was going to ask you a question. Last Wednesday, it was the weirdest thing. At 9:06, we dialed the number, and there was nobody on the other end. Where did little David go?
Well, I apologize. I was I meant to tell you I was actually out in Colorado, and we were out there for a few days, and I meant to send you people an email where to call me at, and we got busy on a bunch of stuff, Zeb, and I just forgot, so I apologize.
Well, that ought to be worth half the reduction in my bill of wine bottles.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Hey, Deanne just gave me a list of the 10 things that require zero talent. Were you making an inference or a reference to being a talk show host?
No, I just thought that you'd appreciate it.
I did. You know, I want to start things off this morning, and I want to talk to you about this mess in Congress yesterday, where the people that set up the servers for Hillary and the number one IT guru, this guy by the name of Pagliano, basically thumbing his nose at Congress and not showing up for the hearing. I mean, where are the rules, regulations, and laws in this country, David?
Well, you know, it's really sad, Zeb, and I've been preaching this for a long time. You know, politicians put their livelihoods and you know, their jobs before they put the American people and this country. And this stuff's got to stop. We got to get back to what made America great.
Can we?
What's that?
I said, can we?
Oh, okay. You didn't come across. I think we can, but we got to get people in running that have business experience and real life experience, and haven't spent their whole time in politics, where they're taken care of, and you know, they're comfortable with the incomes and the lifestyle and all that. And we need term limits, and I've talked about this before.
I agree with you. You know, Dave, let's talk a little bit. I have studied the video of the Secret Service people surrounding Hillary as she tried to get into the van after the 911 ceremony last Sunday. I have studied the moves. I have studied everybody closing in so nothing could be seen. However, one private tape on a video phone captured all of it, with Hillary literally going down and waving her head back from side to side. She was out of it. What are your thoughts, honestly, about this woman who has had a past history of many health problems still running for president?
Well, obviously she's got some problems, and by them trying to hide it, I think they make themselves look worse. And you know, unfortunately, though, Zeb, the press will not come out and really expose her for what she is, because the press, you know, they are on the side of the left, and also, and I found this out in my fight with the SEIU, the press is afraid of the left, and they're afraid of the union bosses who control a big part of the left. And so they do what they tell them to do and cover what they tell them to cover, and that's all they do. And it's a shame. These people need to take a step back, get some backbone, and expose what's going on in this country and be honest about it.
Okay, well, wait a minute. I want you to explain that a little bit further. You say the press, i.e. the entirety of the media, is afraid. Why would they be afraid? What possibly could be threatening to them?
Because here's what happens, and I've talked about this in one of my blogs, and I talked about it in my book a little bit. It's just like Glenn Beck. He's not at Fox anymore because he went after the union I beat, the SEIU, back in 2010, 2011, when the SEIU was proposing the Employee Free Choice Act, which would eliminate the secret ballot election and go to card check. And he was blasting them on TV. Well, the SEIU went after Fox's advertisers. They started losing revenues, and the SEIU went to Fox and said, you get rid of Beck, we'll leave your advertisers alone. So they did. And this same type of thing happens all the time, because, you know, a lot of the media is made up of the employees or union employees. So they're getting this pressure all the time.
You know, I want to ask you this, Dave. The attitude about Hillary's health, and we're called sexist and everything else if we question her health and ask anything more than what the public wants to be told by the media. But here's a woman that I was listening to a couple of people early this morning that have written books on Hillary 5-6 years ago regarding her health, and many of which they had in the book 6 years ago are coming true today, talking about her many experiences with fainting spells, dizzy spells, passing out, injuries. This woman is not exactly who we think she is health-wise. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah, I definitely agree with that. And like I say, it's getting exposed is tough, though. Even though she stumbles and falls on during the 9/11 tribute, she the press, just basically ignored it. And this is the problem we have. And we need Americans to wake up and really dig into this stuff on their own, too. The problem is that too many people on a daily basis are involved in, their work and their family and other things, and they just don't spend the time to really get involved and find out what's going on.
And that's so true, but here we are about 12 days away from the first debate. Now, where's Hillary? Well, she's in bed, supposedly trying to regroup and recoup from pneumonia. But now my question to you is this. How long do you think the DNC is going to cover, whether it's Biden or whether it's Barbara Streisand or whether it's Obama himself out on the stump? How long do you think they're going to go along with this before they realize that she is slipping in the polls? Many polls came out this morning that showed Trump had a 5-point lead. How long before they say, okay, enough, it's time to push the ejection button and get somebody else?
Well, that's interesting because I have people that I know that have told me, and even people that I talk about in my book, who really believe that Hillary will not be the candidate for president for the Democratic Party. They think it's going to be Biden and somebody else. And so it's interesting where this is all going. And I guess there's a possibility we could see a change here.
When you say a possibility, though, Dave, I mean, as a businessman, and you handle many people and different personalities in your business, how long do you think they're going to go with this? I mean, are they going to go till the end of this week? Are they going to make a decision? I know they had a meeting last night, some of the powers that be with the DNC, and they were talking about this very same thing. She's not out able to campaign. She can't answer the questions. She hasn't had any press conferences. Even certain parts of the liberal media are asking about whether or not she is qualified. Where do you draw the line?
Well, I think they'll have to draw it pretty quick because obviously you've got a short period of time, and we've gone through this big a time on the election campaign, and now all of a sudden it's we're down to maybe we got to change this thing, and they need as much time as they can get. That's the bottom line, and so they're going to have to make some tough decisions quickly. The other thing, Zeb, is there's a lot of people that think Obama's going to try and stay in for a third term.
Okay, now explain that. We both know that constitutionally, which he has stepped on the Constitution many times, he would like to play King Obama, but now how in the world would they ever pull that off?
The only way I think they can, and I've talked about this before, is declaring martial law because the economy or terrorists or a combination of everything. And, I wouldn't be surprised if they do something like that. This man and his backers, Soros and the SEIU and other unions, they think they're fundamentally smarter than the rest of us, and they need to control this country. And so I am concerned about what's going to go on here in the next couple weeks.
David, you're an athlete, great basketball player. I played a lot of sports, and I would never think, ever, with the coaching that I had from my junior high school, college, high school, the whole shooting match, if one of us would have taken a knee or one of us would have backed up to the bench and sat down during the national anthem, I'll guarantee you we would have never seen the court or the field ever again. What is going on here with this movement started by 49ers Colin Kaepernick, and it's growing like a cancer even down to the high school ranks?
Well, Zeb, I think it goes back to politics in our administration. I don't know if you saw President Obama the other night, but he was up there blasting the Republicans because they are very divisive and they're dividing this country. The truth is, he's the one that's dividing this country, and he's the one behind a lot of this, along with his leftist group. It's like with Colin, you know, a lot of that's due to his belief in the Black Lives Matters. Well, again, who supports them? The SEIU, the union I beat, and Soros, and who's in their pocket? President Obama. And I think they're intentionally trying to divide this country so that they can bring it down, again, declare martial law, and take over. This is all part of a plan that they're trying to do. These people don't believe in our system, you know, free markets and capitalism. They don't believe in our society and our politics and how they work. They think this ought to be a socialistic, communistic type of society where they can control people.
Well, David, I want to say this to you. Looking back, and it was a long time ago when I was in sports in high school and college, but you know as well as I do, these kids haven't got a clue as to the whys or the ifs or the reasoning that all this has taken place. And it's a shame. It's a pitiful shame that they are basically playing follow the leader in this deal with Kaepernick, and they really have no idea, no clue what they're doing or why. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. But again, you know, going back to my fight with the SEIU, this is what they do. They throw all this stuff out there, and they have certain people do it because they know that they'll be able to brainwash other people, in this case, younger kids, athletes that don't have an idea what's truly going on, and they can get them on their side. You know, and that's what the SEIU did when they tried to force unionize our people. They're going out throwing all this stuff out there that doesn't make a bunch of sense, and, you know, it's misinformation and lies. And they do that on purpose because they know a big percentage of the population really isn't paying attention. They're easily brainwashed.
Going under the fact that they are scheduled for their first debate on September the 26th, how would you handle that debate if you were Donald Trump? We have already seen in the last couple of weeks with the unfortunate case of the Lauer incident when he was trying to, Matt Lauer, when he was trying to interview Hillary, and everybody came out of the woodwork and said, oh, you're too tough on her, you were playing sexist, and you were playing genderism and all this kind of stuff. What about Trump if he fires back at Hillary? Is he in a no-win situation?
No, I really don't think so. I think if he does it professionally, I think that's the key, that, you know, he stays calm, he keeps his voice and temperament under control, and, you know, he doesn't use any off-the-cuff type of verbiage. You know, he's very professional on things that he exposes and that. I think if he does that and he stays on the offensive against her and makes her play defense so she'll be mumbling around all the time, I think he'll be fine, because I think then he'll expose to the American people really how bad a candidate she is and how ill-prepared she is to be president of this country.
I agree with that, and as I mentioned and alluded a little bit earlier in our conversation, that some of the polls, some of the big polls, quite frankly, have got Trump by a 5 or more margin in the polls ahead of Hillary. But I go back to what I said a couple of weeks ago. I went through my notes, and you and I talked about this. I really don't know, Dave, if I want to trust the polls or not. There seems to be a gazillion polls, and they can be manipulated, etc. What are your thoughts about polling agencies in this country?
I've never had a lot of belief in what the polls have to say, to be honest with you. I think the polls are there for their own purposes for the most part, and I think that we will start seeing, as we get into this debate, if Trump does a good job, we'll start seeing and hearing what people across this country really feel about all this, and I think that's going to tell us more than anything.
Okay, we've only got a couple of minutes left, and I've got to ask you, I heard that you've got a football team back there called the Indianapolis Colts. Is that correct?
Yeah, that game Sunday, I was just frustrated. I mean, How do you let the Detroit Lions come back and beat you like that? That was ugly.
What is the general feeling in your town, your community, etc., when you have a team that they've given a contract to this kid Luck that he could go and buy probably the Trump Towers? That just absolutely is insanity to me.
Well, yeah, it is, but Luck had a good game. He played well, but, the defense was terrible.
Uh-huh.
And it's almost like our head coach, he's kind of disengaged. He's one of those bosses that likes to delegate but not follow up. And you can't have that. You know that in sports. You got to be on top of things all the time. And I don't think he did his job on, I think the offense did a good job. They got going. But on the defensive end, I don't think he got involved and did his job.
One final thought on sports this morning. Very serious conversation about this. I've had it many, many times on my program. And, Dave, I have used the term wussification. I have looked at pro football, college football. I've looked at the terminologies about what they're saying about soccer, Major League Baseball, etc. Don't you agree that there seems to be a liberal bent going into sports now for a wussification, a weakening of the sports structure in America today? Would you agree with that?
Oh, yes. I mean, it's happening in every area of this country, Zeb. I mean, it's basically the political correctness. And, we got to get past that. That political correctness is not what made this country great. It's strong people who are willing to work hard and persevere and do the right things that made this country great, and we got to get back to that.
Well, I'll tell you what, David, someday we've got to get together. Our families have got to sit down, and you and I will go to the supermarket, and you can watch my driving skills.
Well, not that. We'll have to take a semi because that's how much wine I think you owe me.
Rub it in, Bigo. Rub it in. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next Wednesday, old buddy. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Zeb.
Take care. Dave Bigo, Indianapolis, Indiana. One of my dear, dear friends. Great businessman, and he knows politics. Okay. All right, let's see what we got to do. Oh, Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more. I want to handle this subject carefully. Does your partner, your wife, your spouse snore? Do they all of a sudden sound like you've got 37 chainsaws in bed with you? Well, there's a way to get rid of it. Check it out, the Beauty Rest Smart Motion Base, powered by Sleep Tracker. And if you're tired of your partner snoring, you can push that snore button and not eject them out of bed, but just raise them up a little bit so they're not having a snoring problem. Where do you find this? Well, you get over to Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. Absolutely wonderful folks. They can tell you all about how to help eliminate the snoring right there with these Beauty Rest Smart Motion by Sleep Tracker. Aha! Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Well, lo and behold, the old Wolfman himself just walked right into the studio a moment ago, and we're going to have him coming up in just a moment. Want to remind you about our dear friends at Let's Ride. Oh, buddy, get on your... Have you got a four-wheeler? Yeah, you do, don't you? You don't have one? Well, buy one, you cheapskate. You got all the money in the world. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 in Rupert. Oh, my goodness. They've got all the 2016 four-wheelers and side-by-sides at closeout prices. And the new 2017's coming in. They've got all the accessories, too. Boy, oh boy, you can just really get what you need. And they've got a fantastic service department, too. At Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. You bet, buddy. This is where the fun is sold. Also, real fast, I want to remind you, if you're over in that neck of the woods, what you ought to do is call ahead for an appointment at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Oh, my goodness, the number to remember, 436-4424. 436-4424. Life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and much, much more from people that really care and are devoted to serving you. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. 436-4424. Well, as soon as he gets done jiggling and holding the microphone and everything, we're going to say a good morning to a very, very dear friend of mine. I call him the Wolf Man. Actually, he's the anti-Wolf Man, and we thank God for him. Jack Euler, how are you?
I'm doing great.
You look good. I mean, you got a brand new shirt on this morning.
It's probably a year and a half old.
You know, have you ever gone through your closet, honestly, and looked at all the shirts hanging in your closet and then started to realize, well, I wore that one back in 1995.
I should start throwing them away.
Me too. Boy, Jack, I'll tell you what, the wolf situation, maybe it's just me, tell me I'm wrong. But other states are starting to have kind of a ground level problem like we did here in the state of Idaho. It's growing. It's not lessening, isn't it?
It is growing. And a couple of days ago, I had
that wire. You're holding onto that wire on the bottom of the microphone, and it's moving. So don't hold. There you go. There you go. Okay.
A couple of days ago, I had a talk with Jim Unsworth, who is the director of Fish and Game in the state of Washington, and they have 19 packs of wolves in known packs in Washington now, and he says we're having a lot of trouble in Washington.
I've read stories, and help me and tell me if I'm wrong, but I've read stories in various newspapers and various outlets that there's a lot of animosity from the environmentalists over in the state of Washington against the ranchers because they've been trying to just protect their livestock.
There is, and they're taking out a couple of the packs, and the environmentalists up there are going nuts. And he says, I asked him where all these wolves were coming from to get into Washington.
That's my question to you, yeah.
And he said they're coming from Canada, they're coming from Idaho, and they're coming from Oregon.
Okay, now my question is when you say Canada, have we always had kind of a cross-the-line type thing from Canada to the United States with the wolves coming in here for our habitat? I mean, is this not something new, or is it just old hat?
The Canadian gray wolf is a new thing because of the way the Canadian gray wolves have taken over Canada. They are coming across the border. You know what they're doing in the upper Midwest.
Yeah, it's a mess.
It is, and so it's a real problem. And he says if you Jim Unsworth used to be assistant director at Fish and Game in Idaho, and before he took the director's job in Washington, and he says if you think we had a bad problem in Idaho, he says, come up here. He says the environmentalists are twice as bad up here as they were down there.
Why isn't there, how do I phrase this, kind of a come to the altar meeting with the environmentalists, the law, and the Endangered Species Act, and everybody get in the same room, and the last man out alive locks the door and doesn't let anybody in? I mean, we have seen the environmental movement here in the state of Idaho question the law, try to change the law, lie about the law, lie about the rules and regulations. They're going to do the same thing over there.
The issue is not about the environmentalists, and this is my philosophy and my feeling towards the environmentalists, because I've sat on a lot of different groups with the environmentalists, and you know there'd be 2 or 3 of them on these committees,
right.
And I have found that you make an agreement with environmentalists, and it only lasts as long as it takes to get out of the door and get away from that place, and it doesn't mean anything.
You know, you and I have talked about this so many times, it's old hat, but for those that are maybe traveling through this part of the state, don't live here, maybe live in Washington, Oregon, whatever, and you may know about the problems in your state that are getting ever larger with the wolf problem. This man, Jack Euler, has done so much over the last 17 years to make Idahoans aware as to how dangerous the agreements with the environmentalists and the feds have been on wolves. And every single time they've made an agreement, correct me if I'm wrong, Jack, every single time there's been an agreement reached, wait a minute, like you said, they walk out the door and they say, well, we're going to change that.
That's right. And that's what happens. And it gets to Washington, D.C., these agreements get to Washington, D.C., and they come back in a bag that you don't recognize anymore.
Right. Jack, hold it a little higher on there. Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
That cord's a little loose and it's shaking. Are the people in Washington, have they been in contact with you?
In D.C.?
No, back in the state of Washington.
Oh, yeah.
Have they talked to you about what's going on? Have some of the ranchers called and contacted you? Have they asked for advice?
Yes, and we talked about the 10J rule, which Representative Stevenson and I went to Boise and testified on and years ago, and I talked to Jim Unsworth about the 10J rule to help the ranchers out up there, and he says, right now, he says the Fish and Game has a pretty good relationship with the ranchers, but he says we got to stay on our toes to keep that relationship, because if we drop the ball, he says we could run into some of the issues that we got in Idaho. And I says, well, you got 19 packs in. You told me in Washington already that you know about. I said, that meets recovery goal when it comes to Idaho.
Yeah.
10 or 100, 10 packs or 100 wolves. I said, that was the original recovery goal of the United States government. I said, you guys have met recovery. I says, why do they want more?
Let me ask you this, and I'm going to sound really calloused when I say this, but on this situation, I don't care. I have talked to some people up in Washington also, and I've talked to some people that are ranchers in Oregon. And quite frankly, when they said, well, what do we do about this? What do we do about that? I've given them your name, talked to them quite often about, contacting you and asking you what you did here for the state of Idaho. But I said also it boils down to another thing when it comes to protecting your property via your livestock. Shoot, shovel, and shut up.
That's right. And
don't say anything.
And there's some of that going on.
Yes.
Jim talked about that with me, and that's going on, and I hope that continues to go on, because people have got to take care of their interests and their livelihood.
The ranchers are paying for their privileges, and they're not paying for a desecration or a murderous animal to come in and rip their calves and their lambs and everything to shreds. And we've seen proof of this. You and I have done a lot of work together over the last 15 years showing the devastating effects of wolf packs. And I absolutely have said this many times on the air, and I will not stand corrected on this. I think sometimes people need to take care of the problem that is hurting and hindering their particular ranching operation and just keep their mouth shut.
Oh, I agree with you.
You're chuckling, but you agree with me.
These issues can be handled, and they could be handled properly.
Yes.
And they could be handled for everybody.
Yes.
But like I said, these agreements that you make with a group, as soon as the door shuts, it's gone. And I just get frustrated with them.
Where is the legal aspect of this thing that if Attorney A working for your group and Attorney B working for their group, if there's a mutual consent that, yes, we will honor this agreement, and you sign on the dotted line, 10 packs for the state of Idaho, 100 wolves, now we're 10 times that figure at least with 1,000 wolves here in the state of Idaho, where does meeting the obligations stop? I mean, to the point where, wait a minute, we've got to manage these wolves. We've got to find out a way to manage these wolves, and it has to be done because we're far exceeding any agreement.
Well, the reason that Idaho has gone to where it is today is because of this 5-year thing. And people don't realize that the United States government gave Idaho a 5-year window where they could manage the wolves and so that they could properly so the government could see whether or not Idaho was managing the wolves in a proper manner. Well, Idaho backed off from taking care of a lot of these wolves over that period of time. And the 5 years are up. The 5 years was up in April of this year. And we did what we were supposed to do. But the thing is, the state of Idaho has never got a letter from the government that said, you are in charge now. You have shown that you can manage them to recovery goals, which is the 10 and 100, or the 15 and 150.
So basically, they set out the rules as to what you had to abide by for what they called a recovery. You met and exceeded that recovery, but still, they haven't said or done anything.
They have not sent a letter out to the state of Idaho and told them, you did a good job.
Where are our state senators on this? Where are our state senators and our national senators on this?
I get frustrated.
That's not
you know that.
I do. But are they speaking out? Are they doing anything? I mean, are they just giving lip service to this problem? What's going on?
No. Everyone's. I mean, when you ask them, they'll tell you that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. Just keep doing it. And the state of Idaho right now is getting ready to take care of some things.
Would you agree, and I got to do a break here in a minute, but would you agree that Washington, the state of Washington, may have a worse problem than what we had here in Idaho because of Washington's politics being very liberal from the governor on down?
Jim and I talked about that to a great extent, and all the people on the west side of the Cascades. And another problem that exists up there is the terrain. Now, when I say terrain, all of the forest area. There's a lot more forest in Washington than there is in Idaho.
Right.
In western Washington, down by the Tri-Cities, it's kind of like it is here. But,
exactly.
There's a lot of... like he told me, Colville, Washington is the hot spot for wolves, and you know what Colville, Washington is.
I've been there.
It's just a lot of forest.
Very mountainous, rugged country, trees galore, very adaptable habitat for the wolves to come in.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so you got a lot of forest. What's it doing? It's taking away the deer and the elk and that kind of thing.
I'll be back with Jack Euler in just a moment. Stand by, but I want to get the weather forecast in here real quick, and it's from some people that I really trust, and you will too. That's Pope Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin and Company, CPAs. Curtis Pope, Todd Phillips, Rob Oaks, Mitch Goodwin, Heather Daly, and Lyden Crane, providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area and beyond for over 50 years. They know they can help you, and they have two locations, one at 1710 Overland Avenue in Burley, the other at 625th Street in Rupert, serving you. Please call them today, make an appointment, and let them help you with your taxes, tax preparation, tax planning, payroll services, any and all of the various services you need. Pope Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin and Company, CPAs, serving you. And right now, here's Scotty with the weather.
Well, good morning on this hump day. Scotty Cameron in with your 7th Ranch weather forecast. Going to be a little bit moist. Looking for some scattered showers today, isolated thunderstorms. Highs only going to reach around 59. Then for tonight, still a chance of thunderstorms, then partly cloudy with a low of 44. That should be clearing off tomorrow. Going to see sunny skies, highs around 67. Clear for Thursday night and a low of 44. Friday, going to be sunny and around 70 up to 75 on Saturday. So things should be looking fairly decent for the weekend. Hopefully you're having a great day. That's your weather forecast on 7th Ranch.
Thank you, Scotty. Brought to everybody by Pope Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin and Company, CPAs. The very best serving you in the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. Deanne, get ready out in the other room if you would, please. I'd appreciate that. And right now, Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service at 336 South, 450 West of Paul. Number to call, 431-8733. It's time and still time to prune those trees that need the trimming, and it's time to get those new lawns in, and it's time to maybe think about putting that new sprinkler system in or revamping the old one. Oh, you better call them today. Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service, 336 South, 450 West of Paul, 431-8733. By the way, too, I want to thank again Gary Shoresman. I know that Jack knows Gary. He's a super nice man and a great author, and he's got 14 books, many of which are right there at the bookstore over in Rupert. You check it out. Gary Shoresman, one of the more talented writers ever in the Northwest. We appreciate him. Jack, we're not going to talk about wolves this next segment of the program. You know what we're going to talk about?
What?
We're going to talk about your birthday. And coming in right now is a cake, and we've got a card and everything. Happy birthday to you. Deanne, help me. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jack. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much.
Now, I just
that gets me. Hey, I got a card from Polly also. Great people.
Let me ask you a couple of questions about old Jack Euler. This is going to be like the old Ralph Edwards. This is your life. Give us a little background on you. You know, I've known you for years and years, and quite frankly, both of us are antique enough they could put up on the shelf. Where were you born, and how did you get up here?
I was born in Garland.
I'm not asking you tough questions, am I?
In Garland, Utah area. I was born and raised on a farm, and my dad had irrigated farms, and we had 3,000 acres of dry land down on the Utah-Idaho border for years. And I graduated from Utah State University, and
in a degree of wolf management.
Yeah. And I've been, over the years, I've been in law enforcement. I've done a lot of things.
What did you do in law enforcement? Was it for the Utah Highway Patrol?
It was for the sheriff's office in Box Elder County.
I see. That's a big county, too, isn't it?
It's the biggest county in Utah. Yeah.
Really? Really?
Yeah. And Sheriff Warren Hyde, who was sheriff for 28 years, and I were very good friends, and I have been asked to write a book about him because he wrote nothing down.
Really?
And they say that I know more about what went on down there than anybody that's still alive.
Well, how did you get from being a police officer to being an insurance adjuster? Now that we're asking Jack Euler, this is your life.
Well, it's very interesting. I had a very good friend, Russ Hart, who was an FBI agent when I was in law enforcement. And he said, when you get your degree, he said, let's get you set up so that you can become an FBI agent. And I said, that sounds great, Russ. And I applied for, when I graduated from school, I applied to be an insurance adjuster with State Farm down in Utah.
I'll be darned.
And applied with the Bureau, and I got an appointment with the Bureau. And I called Russ. I said, Russ, I got an appointment with the Bureau. He says, don't take it. He says, I just quit. He had 12 years with the Bureau.
And you're talking about the FBI?
Yes. And they were going to move him from Ogden to Los Angeles, and his wife said, no more.
Yeah.
He says, we've moved every 2 years since I've been to work with him, and he says, we're done moving. And my wife said, no more. And so I took the job with State Farm. I worked for him for 20 years. I retired, started my own business in Washington State, and I had offices in Idaho, Oregon, and Washington.
And you're still going.
And I'm still going.
You're going all over the country.
I got to go to Elko as soon as I get through.
They're going to name the road after you. That's how often you travel down to Elko and everything. And you've met a lot of interesting people in your career, haven't you?
I have met many interesting people in my career.
And I want to give you credit, too, in this little bit of this is your life. I don't remember the exact circumstances as to how you became the head gopher for our television show, Cowboy Country, but we're so blessed that you did.
Well, I had a good time, and the only thing we had to worry about with Cowboy Country was, is Johnny going to show up?
That's true. Johnny, if you're listening, we love you. But, Johnny was here today, gone tomorrow. But God bless you. And you worked with us for the entirety of the program.
Yes.
Yeah. Had a good time.
I did.
Yeah, we did.
And I took an interesting aspect of that back to the wolves is I took a cameraman up by McCall to where a pack of wolves killed 99 sheep one night.
Yeah, I remember that.
On a side of a mountain. And
speaking of which, that videographer was, we called him Luigi, but his real name was Luis, and he was one excellent photographer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So of all the things you've done in your life, you must have really liked this insurance claim business, right?
I've got along great with it, but I've learned over the years you have to learn to be a people person.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to get along with people to be successful in anything.
And a lot of this, stating back 15, 17 years ago when you got involved, because you are an avid outdoorsman, love to hunt and fish, and when you heard that this wolf situation was going completely out of control, you thought about your grandsons and everybody else and didn't want to see the wolf population grow to the point where hunting was extinct.
That's right.
Is that correct?
That's totally correct. And when one of my grandsons was 8 years old, I think he was, I took him to the legislature, stood him on a chair.
I remember that.
When it was my turn to talk at that, and it was Representative Stevenson's meeting, the Resource Committee in the House, and I introduced my grandson and told him what this whole thing was about. I said, it's not about me. It's not about you. It's not about anybody in this room except our kids and our grandkids.
That's right.
And I said, if we don't watch out for the things that we want them to have, or they won't have it.
Let me ask you this. Of all the things that you've done and all the things you've been involved in, give us the best and give us the worst. What's the best thing you've ever done to get involved in? He's thinking, by the way, dead air. Okay.
I enjoyed law enforcement.
Really?
Because of the relationships that I had in law enforcement.
I see.
And I think I remember one night sitting in the car with the sheriff on the Park Valley side of the mountain, and we had two guys on that road up in the mountains.
Yeah.
And on this side, the Cassia County Sheriff's Office, and we're there. And the sheriff and I talked about, are we going to take those two guys in that car the way we should, or are we going to leave them there?
Yeah, the bad guys.
My suggestion was we take them.
Yeah.
We shoot them. And the reason they had killed one of our deputies.
Right.
And
I remember the circumstances of this.
I just will never forget that night. We were there all night. When daylight came, we took them the way we were supposed to take them as law enforcement people. And that was one of the most interesting things. But I worked with the FBI.
You didn't work with James Comey, did you?
I took people out of prison to Utah State to my classes to talk and everything. I mean, I just had a pretty good time.
What about the bad side of things? If you look back, what were some of the things, and or is the wolf issue the thing that's been the most frustrating for you?
Political issues, not only the wolf issue. You get to sage grouse. These political issues, Zeb, it goes back to what we're talking about earlier about the environmentalists.
Absolutely.
And
well, I just want to say that on behalf of Deanna and I hate to sound all gushy because it's not my personality, but you have been to Deanna and I a God's blessing. And I certainly hope our friendship continues long into the future. And I apologize to you, Jack Euler, because I wanted to have candles on your cake, but I looked at my homeowner's insurance policy, and they won't allow a fire of that magnitude inside the house.
I appreciate what you've done.
Oh, you are a dear friend, and I just can't. I remember all the good times. I remember some of the sad times. I remember some of the bad times, and we absolutely have gone through the fire together on a lot of things, and I just absolutely consider you the best. Thank you.
I appreciate that very much, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jack Euler on our program this morning, and I kind of fooled him a little bit. I didn't let him know that we were going to have a birthday celebration for him, and he deserves it. And knowing Jack like I do, the cake that Deanne has made for him will not last to get to Twin Falls. I've seen you eat before. He's going to Elko. That's going to be his lunch for the day. We're going to take a little break right now and come back with Kelton Hatch and the Fish and Game Report coming up next hour. So stay tuned. Zeb at the Ranch. Deanne, thanks for the cake. Appreciate it, babe. We'll see you back in about 7 minutes. Oh, my. Hello, world. Hour number 3. Gee, I see just a glimpse of blue sky up there through the clouds. Welcome back to Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, and of course some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call them today and get on the route service, 734-6969. Don't forget our friends with Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox, of course, offering rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems. Call 678-0459 and learn how Ramsey Heating and Electric can save you money on Lennox. You call right now. Well, it's that time of the particular month to have once a month the Idaho fishing game on our program, and this is where I'm kind of at a loss for words. I was going to say blessed, but that's not a good word. We are subject to listening to the remarks of the one and the only Kelton Hatch. Good morning.
You see, I want to wish Jack a happy birthday myself, but that's what I was talking about earlier. You're nice to everybody, but then you're mean to me.
It goes with the territory, Hatchet.
No, I'm glad to be here.
No, it's good to see you. You know, we were getting a little nervous, though. You had pulled this stunt in the past where...
One time in 8 years. One time in 8 and
Have
I called
you been coming here for 8 years?
It feels like 40, but...
That's what I thought.
Well, it's probably been longer than that. It's probably actually been closer to 10 or 11.
Are you serious?
I've been here for 15. Well, it's probably been longer than that. It's probably been closer to 14 years.
On my program?
Yeah.
And you haven't paid me a dime?
Well, the same goes for me. If it wasn't for your lovely wife, I don't know that I'd still be coming.
Oh, she fawns over you and gives you water and gives you zucchini bread and gives you all kinds of good things. Holy cow. I mean, you're just kind of a public leech.
I am. I'm a mooch.
All right, what's going on with the fishing game?
You know, man, if you're a hunter, it's that time of year.
Yeah, it is. It really, really is.
You know, things are going great right now. Been seeing some trophy animals taken.
Hey, by the way, let me interrupt you, and I do apologize for that. I heard a rumor the other day, and I'm sure it's substantiated, that one of the biggest elk and one of the biggest moose have been taken by archers up in the South Hills. Is that correct?
You know, we've had some good ones taken. I don't know whether it's going to be one of the best, but we've had some really, really good animals taken this year.
Really?
Yeah. And we've had some up north, too, or above Cary and stuff like that. We've had some really good animals harvested this year. And so, you know, the archers are doing really well.
You know,
having fun.
I don't have nerve to be an archer after moose. I don't like moose. I've had a close encounter of the third time with them already, and I don't want to have another one. But, you know, you got to get relatively close, and I don't think I want to do that.
You know, I would be glad to take you moose hunting.
I bet you would. And use me as bait.
You know, well, here's a spitball.
It's slingshot, buddy.
Yeah.
No, but really, you do have to be extra cautious, don't you?
You do. Well, you know, right now we're starting to get into that Well, this kind of brings up an interesting subject. We're up trapping a moose, or darting a moose right now.
Today, now?
Yeah, because of how aggressive they start getting this time of year. They start getting into that pre-rut. And rut is breeding season. And deer and elk and moose go through this. Moose get overly aggressive about the second week of October is when it's in full rut, but they're starting to get into that pre-rut stage. Right now we've got a moose that has torn down a hammock, some swing sets. Right now he's got a hammock or something tangled up in his antlers. He had a hay tarp in his antlers the other day. And so we're having to relocate him out of the Haley area. That's where I would have been this morning. They asked me to go, but I had to be here to see you.
But you knew where you were vitally needed.
I was, and that bull was. I mean, they start getting pretty aggressive. And
what do you do with a moose? And by the way, if you've never been around moose, ladies and gentlemen, they can turn you into a doormat.
Well,
they're dangerous.
They make you thin.
Yeah.
Because
but really, what do you do with them?
After we dart it? Or,
yeah, you dart it, and then...
What we'll do is we'll dart it, we'll put it on a tarp, put it in the trailer, and we'll haul it somewhere. We'll put an ear tag in it, hopefully in an area that there isn't a season, because it takes 30 days for this drug to get out of their system where they're safe to eat.
30 days?
And so we have a rough time. We don't like darting bulls, especially this time of year, but we're having so many issues with this guy, we're going to have to find an area that we can relocate him. And
we have a caller with a question already. Caller, go ahead. Good to have you on the program.
Good morning, Zeb. Hey, you know, my question is pertinent to your last hour. I was wondering if Jack Oyler shared any of his cake with you and Deanne.
No, I can emphatically tell you, Jerry Voss, that he grabbed his cake in both hands, headed for the door on a dead run, and never said goodbye as the door slammed behind him.
That's pretty close.
I kind of figured that.
Okay.
I sat across from him at lunch a few times. And boy, if there's cake there, it's gone.
You better believe it. Any food.
How many there are, he'll eat them all.
I agree with you. Jerry, thank you for your call, and I'll extend happy birthday wishes from you to Jack. Thank you.
Well, you do that, and Kelton, you keep doing this show. I really enjoy your part.
Well, thank you.
I call people and tell them to listen to you when you're on because I think you do a great job.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate a compliment.
All right, Jerry, thank you. Was there an inference there that you're not getting a compliment from me?
Just pointing out the obvious there, Zeb.
All right. Well, this will be the last time you're on here. Bird seasons are open.
They are. Bird seasons are in. This Saturday, everything's going to kick off. We got sage-grouse season.
Right.
One bird a day.
Right.
For the next 7 days, and so it's from Saturday till Friday.
Okay.
People are always asking me, well, if birds are down, why are we even having a season? This is a way to keep people tied into caring about the birds. We harvest very few. When we start looking at our overall numbers of birds harvested and the amount of hunters that are out in the field, it's really reduced from what it was. But it's kind of like me. I was talking to my buddy the other day. And,
you have a friend.
I do. Mm-hmm. And we were headed up in the hills, and it's kind of, for me, this was like opening day of deer season almost with sage-grouse growing up, because I remember getting up early in the morning, we're going out, hanging out in the desert, waiting for the sun to come out so we could go sage-grouse hunting.
Yeah.
We did it every year, and he's loading his kids. He lives right here in Murtaugh, kid that just moved here. He's loading his 3 boys up that are 4 to 8, and they're headed out to the desert so that they can go out and harvest a sage-grouse and come back and have dinner. And I don't know, it's just a thing you did in
Yeah, but you know something, and you and I have talked about this before. It's not the actual shooting of the gun or the bringing home a deer or a sage-grouse, whatever. It's the camaraderie and the getting out and enjoying the great God's outdoors.
Oh, it is. And it's marvelous when you share that with family and friends.
Yeah.
It just makes it's just memories that you have forever. And so, and so that's what I do with my son every year.
Absolutely.
We get up, we take the boys out, my daughter, go out, shoot a sage-grouse, come back and eat it. And, we just have a good time, and it's just one of those things. And that's why we keep that sage-grouse, because we've got people that care about sage-grouse. They're going to do better things, try to help push the thing. Once you list something or you take it off, people kind of forget about it.
Elk and deer, their season's going full speed almost?
Well, elk and deer, we'll have our... I wanted to touch one more thing on the birds.
Oh.
Also, chuckers and huns and quail open on Saturday also.
Okay.
So you're really into the heart. I mean, the bird season's really taken off right now.
Where did summer go?
I don't know, but it's been hot, it seems like, for a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid the farmers are going to be mad at me when I say this, but I was really happy for the rain. I know that there's a ton of beans down and things like that, and it makes it tough to thrash them, and you got some hay down and in some of the areas, but just for the, for fire hazards and just for knocking the dust down and things like that, it was nice to finally see some rain.
Now, we got last night a heck of a thunderstorm and lightning storm.
Well, and thank goodness it rained to put any spark ups up, for that. But no, it was things are starting to change. It's nice to wake up in the morning and it's cool.
Yeah,
fall's definitely here. We've got the as you said earlier, the backcountry or our wilderness rifle hunts start on the 15th. So the Frank Church, Selway, those areas like that will fire up.
It's hard to believe.
And then the first of the month, we'll start having our rifle elk hunt starting. And before I talk to you again, I'll have been out deer hunting with my kids because the general deer season's open on the 10th of October.
That's right, Monday the 10th.
Monday the 10th. And... our controlled hunts, South Hills, you'll start seeing people run up there on the 5th of next month. And so, it's hunting season. It does seem like You know,
wear your orange.
Well, you bet. Get out there, wear your orange. It's not a state law, but it's a common sense law.
I can't see why you wouldn't. Okay, now we got to scoot along here. We got a lot of things to cover. I'll go back to the elk and deer going full speed. Now, is there anything else you want to talk about on that?
I just want to, I'm going to jump kind of down just a little bit, but one of the big issues that we're running into right now is just common courtesies and
the ethics
of things. And so I know people are excited. We've been waiting for an entire year to be able to do this, and nobody waits with more bated breath than myself.
What do you mean by? Have you ever really analyzed the phrase bated breath?
Well, that's true. I was thinking of that when I said that. I knew you was going to say it. No, bated breath. I don't know. I've never even figured it out.
Well, you're a Utah State University graduate. I thought you knew everything.
See, but you're nice to Jack when he was a graduate from Utah State. But no, I've been patiently awaiting. I'll say that, and that's tough for me to be patient about anything. But been waiting for season to start, and so everybody's excited to get out there. However, we need to treat other people with respect.
Amen.
If you see somebody stalking an animal, just because you spotted it doesn't mean you can sneak in front of them.
Oh.
I mean, show some respect. There's lots of animals out there. Make sure you know where you're at. When bird season kicks off, that's when our trespassing violations start. People say, yeah, nobody's around. I can go in here and hunt. Well, no, it's private property. If it is cultivated, if it has an irrigation system on it, if it's got any type of standing crop, and you step on that, you can lose your hunting license.
You're trespassing.
You're trespassing. They do not have to post that. You lose your hunting license. It's a mandatory revocation for 1 year of your loss of your hunting license.
And it should be.
And so just be smart about.
Why don't they just go ask?
Go ask. The problem is everybody's busy with 14,000 things.
I agree with that.
And they get out and they get honey and they go, oh, I forgot to figure out whose property this was.
Yep.
Well, there's big deer out there. Oh, there's birds out there. Oh, I'll just hurry and sneak on and get it. And there's not a lot of damage caused. However, that's like somebody jumping into your backyard and having a picnic. People don't understand, landowner may have 500 to 5,000 acres. It's all like their backyard. I mean, this is where they work and eat and live every day of their life. And so just be responsible. Don't drive where you're not supposed to. Stay on existing roads. The biggest issue that we run into every year, and the biggest reason we end up seeing new rules, is because people push things to the limit.
Yeah.
And then they go overboard.
Is it getting worse or getting better?
There's some just grand people out there. I've seen some of the kindest gestures in my life, when you see people that pull over and help another couple load a deer or pack one out, or help people get unstuck, and you see so many kind things, and sometimes I feel like that I overemphasize the bad because it's less than 1% of the people that do the bad things.
Yeah, but one of my pet peeves, and I'm not going to weaken on this, is the trash issue. You and I have talked about this.
Yeah.
There is nothing that frustrates me more going up into the hills to enjoy a weekend up there and then seeing Twinkie wrappers and everything else.
Well, I found you a couch the other day.
There's a couch up there?
Over in North Cottonwood. They dropped their couch and their whole living room set, it looks like.
What's the mindset on that?
I figured the ground squirrels needed.
You mean to tell me that they would exert the effort to take it way up there instead of the dump?
Well, yeah, it was only $5 to the dump.
Yeah.
If you take a load in there, or you can take it up there and burn, 10 more dollars in gas to dump it up in the hills. I don't understand the mindset. The other big issue that we're having all around is we had a bunch of scouts that are up doing a cleanup tonight up Indian Springs from the shooting areas. It's becoming a real common thing. Indian Springs, North Cottonwood, and a lot of litters being left up there. I just want to emphasize and it's not by everybody. I know there's some really good guys up there that clean up more than they take up there. They take their targets, they take things, but clean up your shotgun hulls.
Amen.
Clean up your targets. I mean, if you had the energy to walk it out there, set it up, walk out there, pick it up, and take it back and put it in your truck.
Duh.
And so, so we have groups that go up there all the time. And
I know when I had my outfitting business with Ron years ago, and people would get on the horses and they just sit there and they might have a candy bar or maybe had a pop can in their saddlebags or something, just throw on the ground. And we absolutely would stop right there, and those things would be picked up.
Oh, you bet. No, I mean, it's frustrating, I mean, and so that's all I really want to say. I mean, I don't want to emphasize it makes it sound like every hunter's a pig. They're not. But the people that are know who they are. Just take care of your stuff. Treat it like it's your parents or somebody you care about, and just clean up. But what a great time of year! I mean, it's cooling off. It's time to get out and do some hunting, and do your homework. I mean,
wait a minute. What about this now? Do your homework. Now, you being a graduate of Utah State University, are you trying to elevate it yourself above the rest of us that you did your homework?
I am. I'm trying to. I try to do my homework before every hunt.
Really?
I do. I try to make sure that I know where I'm going, that somebody knows where I'm going.
Kelton, there's been rumors that you haven't known where you're going for a long time.
That's true. Yeah, just ask my wife. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, it is her birthday, too, my wife, Jenny.
Jenny, is she listening?
Probably.
Jenny, on behalf of Deanne and I, we wish you a very happy birthday. And we're sorry you're stuck with Kelton taking you out to eat.
For 26 years.
26 years?
Yeah.
Well, you're getting old like the rest of us.
I am.
Yeah.
And so, but, no, do your homework. What I mean by that is just know where you're going. Tell somebody where you're going. We always start getting search and rescue calls this time.
That's the key.
If you make a battle plan to go somewhere and go hunting, go somewhere and go hunting. Don't change your mind midstream.
Yeah, really.
Because then, if something breaks down, then nobody knows where you're at. A lot of this country doesn't have cell service, and so you have to be cautious. But then also, it's back to the trespass and all that stuff. Know where you're going. Find out. You can go down to the county assessors and find out whose property is what. You can contact them beforehand.
Yep.
Nobody wants to have their door knocked on at 6 a.m. saying, "Hey, I'd like to go hunting on your place." Do it a month or two before everybody else shows up. And you've got time right now to do that because pheasant season doesn't open until the 1st of October. And so you've got for pheasants, you've got it for deer, doesn't open until the 10th. So get out and do some legwork now. And you also need to get your dogs in shape. You need to get your horses in shape.
That's a gripe that we've talked about.
It is. There's nothing I hate seeing more than a dog that's all stove. I mean, I get stove up. It's self-inflicted. Typically, when you're doing it to your dog, it's you inflicted that on him because he's been in a kennel.
And the horses.
And the horses.
Man alive. Yeah. That just irritates me. You'll see these horses standing out in their pastures or their little feedlot areas, and then hunting season comes along, and they expect those animals to go up one mountain and down the next.
And then they're all golded up, cinch gold, and sore-muscled and tired, and get them shod. Get them shod early. I mean, that's another thing that I shoot horses for a while, and it about drove me nuts because everybody called the day before.
Yeah.
I got 4 horses in each shoot. Well, good luck.
Yeah. But, your valid point there about the dogs and the horses and everything else. I've got to do a commercial in just a moment, but know what you're going to do it, follow through, but do your homework.
You bet.
Okay. We talked about just a moment ago the youth pheasant season opens on October 1st, not the general.
Not the general.
That opens up on the 8th. See, I'm way ahead of you.
You are. You're just whack like that. You're like Flash.
Isn't that something? I'm impressed.
Youth pheasant hunt. We still have a few openings for it. If you're interested in your kid participating in it, we've got a youth pheasant hunting clinic that opens on the opening day of the youth pheasant hunt. Call Tanner Ray Alberti, 324-4359, and you can get, I'll have Zeb say it later on in the show, but you can get a hold of her, get signed up for that. Also, we're starting our little lottery deal for the youth waterfowl hunt. What we do is we get a bunch of names, and then certain kids get the opportunity to hunt at the Hagerman WMA with mentors. We're looking for first-time hunters that have never had the opportunity to hunt waterfowl. Just went through hunter education this year. It doesn't matter if you're 12 or 20, if it's your first time hunting and you're wanting to get involved and learn a little bit about that, call Tanarea Birdie at
324-4359.
And hear that radio voice right there.
There you go.
And so give her a call and get signed up for those. But those clinics are coming up quick, and so we're looking for the names now.
All right, real quick. I was going to get into the fishing roundup, but you told me that McGargle gave you 19 and a half pages that regarding fishing. Oh, my goodness, and it's all single-spaced. Why don't you touch on one or two topics? I've got 1 minute before I do a commercial break. Go ahead.
Okay. There's a 7-part series on sturgeon conservation in Idaho that's going to be on our website.
Okay.
And so you can go on there. It's actually on the Southwest Idaho website, so you can go to Southwest/McCall IDFG website to view that. It's a pretty cool little.
Are there a lot of sturgeon here in the Snake River in this area?
There's going to be 638 more in one of our hatcheries at the end of this month.
Wow!
And then we actually have a fairly good population. It makes us nervous right now because, typically before. And don't get me wrong, when I say stuff about dams and stuff like that, it doesn't mean I don't believe that we need power, we need all this. But we used to, from Shoshone Falls all the way to the ocean.
What'd you say, Deanne?
It's clicking.
It's clicking? Are you clicking over there?
I'm trying not to.
Both of you, you're doing it too.
I'm not doing it either. Okay. Well, during the break, maybe we'll ask Wheels over at the station if there's a clicking noise on the air. Wheels, do you hear a clicking?
I did for a little bit, and then when Doug called in, it got a little bit better because he was letting me know about that. We might have to reestablish the line when we go.
All right, at the bottom of the hour, we'll reestablish the line and set up a new one. And go ahead, Kelton. I didn't mean to break it.
No, that's fine. I'm used to it.
Guys.
But, no, sturgeon, they could migrate from Shoshone Falls all way back to the ocean, just like we had salmon that could.
Yeah.
Well, now we've got these isolated populations, and so a lot of these populations, about the only breeding population we have left is the one down by CJ Strike.
Okay.
But there's a lot of interbreeding, and so the genetics of that's why we're introducing a lot of planted fish lately.
Real quick question and a short answer because I've got a break. Sturgeon, how big are they when you introduce them into the snake?
Couple feet.
And how long does it take for them to reach maturity?
100 years they can live to.
Are you serious?
They can live as long as you. Isn't that about where you're at?
Yeah, thank you. La Vintage Boutique. Don't forget 1240 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Open Tuesday. La Vintage.
It's your store.
There you go. And the lovely lady that owns it, Elizabeth Coyle. And they've got all kinds of great dresses and jewelry, women's and children's clothing, antiques. That's where you qualify. Home decor items, all kinds of furniture, homemade items. Absolutely a store that you want to take some time, go in and browse and enjoy. Very nice people serving you at La Vintage Boutique, 1240 Oakley Avenue in Burley. You stop in Tuesday through Friday, 10:30 to 5:30, Saturdays 11 to 4, and believe me, they'd say howdy to you and enjoy your business at La Vintage Boutique in Burley. Right now we're going to send it over to our main studios. Wheels will reestablish the line and see if there's less clicking. Is it okay now?
It's okay.
All right, it's all right. Well, we'll just leave it this way then, Wheels, and we'll turn it over to you. Over to the main studio.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Oh, my goodness sakes, let's not forget Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more. And here's what Mrs. Hatch is going to buy for Kelton. If you're tired of your partner snoring over at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more, they have the Beauty Rest Smart Motion base powered by Sleep Tracker, where they can raise the bed up a little bit, and Kelton will stop this awful like that and just really cure the problem. So, Mrs. Hatch, we feel sorry for you. Stop on over to Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more at 459 Overland and Burley and check this out today. And forget about all the sleepless nights, right?
I guess.
You're a snorer, aren't you?
Nope, I'm not.
You're not? How would you know you're asleep?
I don't
There's
wake
no
up
way.
with
You can tell there's a graduate of Utah State University.
I can tell when I snore because I wake up with bruises.
Hey, don't forget again our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox. And, of course, you know that they've got all the Lennox equipment for you over there, and they're waiting to serve you right now. Gas furnaces, air conditioners, heat pumps, everything. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox can save you money. And don't forget, we're going to be over at Ramsey's tomorrow morning for our Hats Off to Farmers and Salute to Our Military, all 3 hours of our broadcast tomorrow morning. And at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, we're going to have biscuits and gravy served by the Rupert Veterans Memorial, only $3 a plate, and the proceeds go to the Christmas Helping Santa Fund. Don't forget to be there tomorrow. Right now, we are with the fishing roundup. How is fishing this year? Pretty good? You're not really a fisherman, though.
No, but I ask people on how things are going, and that's how I saw, and Doug's got right here. Good fishing, magic. Low, but fishing well for trout. In Salmon Falls Creek is good reports on walleye. Algae has decreased. And so fishing, I've had some buddies that they were hardcore fishermen, didn't hunt. They couldn't wait till hunting season started, so it got all the weekend warriors out of there, the ones that hunted, and so they were the only ones left on the lake, and they believed that fall fishing was by far the very best.
Really?
And so, as the weather cools down, the algae blooms decrease, the water cools up, these fish will get after, and it sounds like fishing's already starting to pick up.
You're one of those kind of guys that said, no, I can't sit still.
No, it's I enjoy fly fishing.
Do you?
I do, because I'm moving in constant motion, but boat fishing...
Kind of like you do on this program.
Pretty much.
Constant motion.
Well, I'm just nervous.
Bob and weave.
Bob and weave with you. But
that's how you played football at Utah State.
Pretty much. Didn't want to get hit. You wouldn't want to get hit by those guys either. They're some pretty big.
Yeah, they are. What about fishing, though, around? Did Doug have some other points of interest?
Well, there's some programs that we're going on that I wanted to get through. Number one, we've got and this is going to cause people are going to call on this one probably, but no. The reason is because pelicans are not a very loved beast.
They're filthy,
and we've got 200 pelicans right now sitting on the South Fork of the Boise River.
200,
and they're gobbling up kokanee. So they can eat up to 6 pounds a day.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of fish. That's like what you eat, and so or a little less than what I eat, but. We've got a hazer up there right now.
What does a hazer do?
Well, what does a hazer do in bulldogging?
Well, yeah, but I mean, a hazer in bulldogging keeps the steer running straight.
Okay. These keep the pelicans running far. They keep them off the water.
Really?
So every time they land on the water, they shoot a cracker shell at them.
Are you paying this guy enough?
Probably not, but he's got about 200 pelicans gone. Now there's between 20 to 50 pelicans that come back, and he still chases them off. But the reason we're doing this...
24/7?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep, he has a trailer up there, and that's what his job right now. He's a technician, and he'll work the river corridor there.
On his resume, does it read Pelican Chaser?
He will when he's done, if he does a good job. And the reason is so that these kokanee can make it upstream and spawn. We've had a few issues the last couple of years where we had a big dam, a natural earth slide, in the river that blocked off some of the spawning abilities of the fish. Some of the mud got on some spawning beds, and so we're really concerned about that kokanee population. And so that's why we've got this young fellow up there.
What does he use to chase them off with?
He has a cracker shell gun.
A cracker shell.
And what it is, it's you put a 22 blank in it, and then you slide the cracker shell on it, and you can light them. Some of them you light and shoot. Others you just shoot, and it ignites it, and then it goes boom.
Right over the pelicans.
Right over the pelicans. Okay. Right at them. You try to bounce it off the pelicans.
And don't they get accustomed to it after a while and just kind of laugh at the boom?
Not when they're hitting you.
I see.
I mean,
set your feathers on fire?
Yeah, they don't do that, but they're...
Did that happen to you at Utah State?
No. No. But that's what we're doing up there. We're trying to keep the pelicans down.
They're a dirty bird.
Well, they live and they eat fish only, and
yeah. But I know I've talked to you about you gathering those out.
They're smelly. Yeah, and one of their defense mechanisms is to regurgitate on you if you catch them, and so.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's the fun part. Kind of like a llama.
Do you wear like rubber clothing?
I do.
Yeah.
Rubber jacket, rubber boots, because it's not easy to get fish regurgitation off you.
Oh, my gosh. Really?
I hope nobody's having lunch yet.
No, you've killed most of the sponsors for this half hour.
So,
I didn't know that's kind of a defense mechanism.
Yeah, well.
Really?
I guess you
back off or I'll puke on you.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. Well, llamas do the same thing.
They're terrible.
Yeah,
they spit all over you.
Yeah, but it's regurgitation that they're spitting. And so, also, it's the end of the season for irrigation, so the Richfield Canal will go on salvage September 15th. The salvage order will be issued by the Minidoka, Milner, and Salmon Falls Creek reservoirs soon, and so be aware of that. And remember, on the salvage order, you cannot use dynamite, you cannot use chemicals, you cannot use any means to electrocute them. But no,
I shouldn't laugh. I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time.
And no sturgeons may be salvaged. If you find a sturgeon in these stretches of the streams or in these canals, please call us, and so that we can go capture it and go drop it into a place that it can survive.
That was how Kelton played linebacker at Utah State. Back off or I'll regurgitate on you.
Oh, jeez.
Okay. You're like a big pelican. They had a nickname on your helmet, Pelican.
There you go.
But no, you told me about you having to go in and catch those birds and
put bands on them.
And you said it's just filthy.
Well, they smell bad. Yeah. I mean, they live, on small islands.
Like a Utah State locker room.
It's worse. And that's bad. Okay. And so, then the other thing I was going to talk about is hatcheries. We just stocked 520 fish at Henry's Lake. I know that's a little bit out of our region that we're from, but this is the Hagerman Fish Hatchery right down here in Hagerman. So we actually plant fish all over the state from that hatchery, so that's kind of interesting. And we'll be taking some into Lake Cleveland later on, and then we've got 638 sturgeon that'll be coming in. We just stocked 439 yellow trout, and then we've just stocked 12,785 trout in area ponds around here. Niagara Springs, Salmon Falls Creek, we just dumped 144,560 surplus fingerlings, steelhead fingerlings.
Who counts these fingerlings?
I've got a guy that's really fast. He counts their fins and then divides by 6.
No, I'm serious. How do you know? You said 144,000, and I'm really inquiring as to...
The way they do this is by weight. They know how much water's in there, and then they do fish displacement of water. They put X amount of gallons in there, squirt the fish in there. Load the fish in on the conveyors, and then they can tell how many pounds of fish they have in there, and then they have the little fish, and they know how much the fish average, and then they divide it, and that's how they come up with it.
Are you serious?
It's math.
This is really high-tech.
High-tech redneck, baby.
144,000.
560. And then they currently have 1,858,460 steelhead on the station right now that they're raising to kick into the rivers around here, and this is what we do right down here at Niagara. We've had a 98% fish survival on it.
You almost said fawn, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah, I know. So, you and fish, yeah.
And then we have 1,346,000. I'm having a rough time big numbers. 346,000.
Played football for Utah State, did you?
One too many hits to the head. Steelhead fingerlings at the Magic Valley Steelhead Hatchery, Magic Valley Fish Hatchery.
Yeah.
And we have approximately 120,000 fish that will be stocking at Salmon Falls Creek Reservoir this week. And the reason I want you to know down there, we've had a lot of skinny walleye because we've got a lot.
Walleye.
Yeah, not enough to eat. These fingerlings will add to the fatness or plumpness, and then there'll be a certain percentage of them that will survive, but the walleye should do better, and we should also get some of these steelhead to carry through, and they're a lot of fun to catch.
So when you get these fingerlings, you lay 10 of them on a scale and take an average, is that right?
No, believe it or not, every one of these fish have a clipped adipose fin.
I have a who?
That little adipose fin, that little fin on its back right before its tail.
Yeah.
They handle every one of these fish
140,000?
No, 1,336,000.
Every one of those have been handled?
Every one of them. We have what we call as clipping trailers. Well, you know when you say, well, what steelhead or what salmon can you keep? Well, it has to have a clipped adipose fin if you keep it.
Who does this, and how long does that take?
It takes about a week and a half of 8 to 10 people working 10 to 12 hours a day.
And they come down a conveyor belt?
They come down in water in a little trough. It's just like it's like a half a PVC pipe. And these little fish get squirted into this, and you grab them, and you clip the fin off, and then you put them in another one, and they get stuck right back in the
That sounds like a comedy skit from Lucille Ball. I Love Lucy, with all the cakes coming down the line.
It's not funny. The people, when I've been down there watching this, they're not laughing. This is a lot of work. I mean,
do they miss a lot of them?
None of them.
How can they not?
Because they go into the trough and they have to physically pick that fish up, cut it, and then they put it in another trough.
Yeah, but if he's going down the trough and he kind of is an elusive little bugger.
There's a dead end.
Oh.
Which just drains with the water, so it keeps fresh water. No, they don't miss it.
And are all these people college graduates that do this?
Pretty much. They're trying to get a job with the department. And so, but we do, we have fish marking trailer, and all they do is go around the state, and they'll clip, 5 million.
How would you act after you've clipped 1 million fish?
I think I would probably be taking ibuprofen all day for my lower back.
I can't imagine.
Because
You're standing there.
They're standing there.
I got to go see this sometime.
Hey, feel free to come and clip.
No.
I can see you with a set of clippers in your hand. Oh, that's sushi. That's bait.
Doggone, it's too bad he didn't make it. Okay.
His whole tail's gone, not just the adipose. Well, and the thing is, you got to realize though, you're clipping something off there the size of a pencil head, because that little adipose fin.
You're kidding me.
Well, that little adipose fin is pretty small because these fish are only 2 to 3 inches long, and so.
I think it's about time we took the weather. Okay.
Yeah,
we got to take a break while we still have a break to take.
Yep. There you go.
Okay, here we go. Don't forget Scarrows Meats at 331 North Road, Jerome. 324-7657, the number to call, and they are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Your locally owned custom meat processor for over 20 years. Yeah, buddy, you know they are good, and the meat is delicious. Scarrows Meats in Jerome. Right now, here's Scotty with the weather.
Well, good morning on this hump day. Scotty Cameron in with your 7th Ranch weather forecast. Gonna be a little bit moist. Looking for some scattered showers today. Isolated thunderstorms. Highs only gonna reach around 59. Then for tonight, still a chance of thunderstorms, then partly cloudy with a low of 44. That should be clearing off tomorrow. Gonna see sunny skies. Highs around 67. Clear for Thursday night and a low of 44. Friday, gonna be sunny and around 70 up to 75 on Saturday. So things should be looking fairly decent for the weekend. Hopefully you're having a great day. That's your weather forecast on 7th Ranch.
All right. Got to turn the mic on. All righty. Thank you, Scotty. I didn't graduate from Utah State. Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. And, of course, they are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Really, there's a lot of things that you don't explain on this program that really are interesting. I mean, you're talking millions of fish that have to each one be handled by a human being and clipped. That's an interesting story.
It is. I guess the sad thing about it, and that's what I'm trying to do better at, and that's why is to get more of these stories out to people, because I guess I work in the thing, and so we know that we plant a few million steelhead every year, and they don't have an adipose fin, but people don't think, well, where did that adipose fin go? Did you breed them without adipose fins?
Yeah.
No, they have to be manually taken off, and so there's a lot of little things like that. So that you know which ones are the wild, because that's the only reason we can have a fishery on them.
I see.
Is because they're listed in the Endangered Species Act, except the ones that we clipped off.
And what do you call that fin again?
Adipose.
Adipose.
Mm-hmm.
Adipose. You got an adipose everywhere. An adipose. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's an adipose fin. But if it's missing the adipose fin, when you catch it, you can keep it.
Oh.
If it's got one, it's a wild fish, and you have to leave it.
I see.
And so that's why we clip them. It was one of the easiest things that we could do in order to mark the fish that didn't injure them.
Now, when you let these sturgeon go, I mean, do all the sturgeon have to be handled also?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm trying to think. Some of them will put transmitters in. See, that's the thing.
Transmitters? I mean, what is this beam me up Scotty stuff?
Well, there's several thousand of these steelhead and salmon that are sent to that we drop in the stream that we actually put a little microchip in. And then the dams, you ever wonder how we get those counts? Well, they've got little transmitters.
I know that up there at...
the fish swim through, the transmitter goes click.
Yeah, at the Dalles, Oregon, you can go down by the dam and watch the fish go through and everything, and I often wonder, how in the world do they count those fish?
Well, and we've got a lot of those fish have had transmitters implanted in them, and so we'll handle them all and inject this small transmitter, and when it goes through it goes through a magnetic collar.
This is way too high-tech.
High-tech redneck, baby.
Man.
And so, but that's the only way that we can monitor and keep track. The technology, even since I've been here, is just so amazing. We started with like mule deer and elk. We've had UHF or VHF radios that you had to use an antenna to find them.
Right.
You could fly over and you got a signal 5 miles away. Well, we were just starting 15 years ago to have what they call GPS collars.
Yeah.
Well, these GPS collars only work for so long. They were real expensive. Well, we've got 50 or 60 of these GPS collars on mule deer right now that actually talk to satellites that we have real time on where these deer and elk are moving to, where they migrate to. And as technology comes along, it just allows us to do our job better to understand, where does the Idaho Department of Transportation really need to worry about? We see a lot of deer here, but is there other places that we need to be concerned about improving, underpasses for deer trip?
Holy cow.
And so, as technology comes along, we can just do better and better. And, and we've been trying to put these satellite collars on wolves so that we can document their patterns, where they're going, if they're in trouble, if they are in trouble, how we can find them and remove them. And so
I will never make fun of you and your job again. You are an Einstein.
Hey, can we have this in
hold
writing?
you in the highest reverence.
Well, I just talked about it. I don't know how to do it, but I can't get on the computer.
Hey, one thing we got to take some time for, and it's an issue that you'll never hear any jocular remarks about, is with hunting season, there also goes the time for the bad guys. And the bad guys, the poachers.
They are. And typically they're not working just during hunting season. It just seems like it. And one thing I want people to understand is when we start looking at poaching violations, any illegal take of an animal is considered a poaching violation. Right. So sometimes when you see some of our data, it seems really hard but high. However, anything that's an illegal take is something when somebody shoots from a roadway, when somebody helps somebody else shoot their deer, when you take you shoot your kid's deer or something like that. Those are all poaching. Those are all violations. The only reason we have these laws in effect is because you guys or your forefathers voted for it.
That's right.
We are not the ones that brought to pass all these laws. I mean, this was brought forth by the people of the state of Idaho through our legislature because they're trying to protect a resource and make it fair across the board for everybody to be able to be successful and have fun. We're not trying to pick on people. We're not trying to be mean. We're trying to ensure the future of our wildlife.
Is it a problem that is growing? Is it a problem that is lessening? Is it what's the status right now?
There's I don't see it lessening.
Wow.
There's just a lot of issues that happen with poaching. A lot of times our poaching incidences are cases of opportunity.
Cases of opportunity.
They're not out looking to do something wrong, but all of a sudden they've got a cow elk and this huge bull steps out in front of them and they just cannot contain themselves and they shoot it. And so it's just one of those control things, and so self-control things. And so if you guys see something that is haywire, don't confront the people.
Is there a number they can call?
They can. They can call 1-800-632-5999.
Repeat that again.
1-800-632-5999. And that's the CAP hotline. You can call the Capine line, remain completely anonymous, receive a reward if you're interested in that for turning the violation in. You can call the county sheriff, you can call dispatch, you can call the regional office. You can remain anonymous through the whole thing. You don't have to testify. You are eligible for a CAP reward. It's interesting to me.
And by the way, CAP stands for Citizens Against Poaching.
And we've got a lot of money in CAP. And the reason is because it's amazing how many people don't claim the reward. They just feel like it's their patriotic or their duty to turn the people in that are doing things that are wrong. And so this is just to ensure the future of our wildlife and to ensure fair play across the board for everybody.
Absolutely. Kelton Hatch, thank you. I want to remind everybody about our seven great locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All the tires for all the different driving. And I'll tell you what, listen to this one. The Ultra Z900. It's on sale right now, passenger car tire. And it's an all-season tread, 65 to 80,000 mile warranty. That's a long time, a big warranty on this excellent tire for you. And don't forget, too, the best in brake service. Man, oh man, they've got people there at all 7 locations that really know and understand brakes. Professionally trained technicians, always with the brake industry's best warranty, along with the front end alignments. You got to make sure that front end's lined up. You'll be off into the barrel pit wearing your tires out. You better check it out today. Shocks and struts, batteries, cooler temperatures right now. You go out and turn the key and it goes, guess again, Junior. And you better check your battery to make sure that it's ready to start any and all of your vehicles. You better believe it. It's a great big fall special for you at the Les Schwab Tire Centers with Lane in Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland in Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You got that evil look on your face.
I was just going to bring something up, but I won't.
Well, go ahead. I can't wait. You'll spring it on me at the least opportune moment.
I'm just wondering, how did it get in the bar pit?
It's over there.
I love that.
That's how you drive.
I've seen that's happened to you before.
Yes, it has.
No, I thought it was. I felt that way when I've ended up in the bar pit. It was just like, well, there it was. Whoop.
I've enjoyed having you on the program.
Hey, it's been fun.
I had to say that.
I know. Okay. I know. It's part of the contract.
But now, all the money. Next month, we will gather at the river again.
We will. Hopefully, hopefully next month people have got some hunting stories they can call us and tell us.
Yeah.
Tell us about your kid's best, your grandkid, your kid, you know. I love hearing people's hunting stories.
And about whoop, they went off the mountain.
Yeah, hopefully not. Hopefully they just found a pothole.
There you go. So, Kelton Hatch, Idaho Fish and Game, a staple to this program.
Well, geez, I
there you go.
That.
All right.
Hey, thanks.
Hey, I got to remind everybody tomorrow we're going to be at Ramsey Heating and Electric all morning long for our program with our hats off to farmers and salute to our military. Come on down. I'm counting on you. And at 7 o'clock, we're going to start serving biscuits and gravy by the Rupert Veterans Memorial, and that's from 7 to 10, $3 a person, and the proceeds go to the Christmas Helping Santa Fund. So we will see you tomorrow at Ramsey's, and remember, the way things were are the way things ought to be. God bless.